All right, so gonna read a few more chapters. I just ate dinner, and it's 4 hours later, and I eat dinner at the latest. I usually eat 6 o'clock or so, but so I had a late dinner. I figured I might as well read a few chapters while my food digests, and then call it a night. I'm usually in bed long by now, but not tonight. Chapter 20 of Jubilees. And in the 42nd Jubilee, in the first year of the 7th week, Abraham called Ishmael and his 12 sons, and Isaac and his 2 sons, and the 6 sons of Keturah and their sons. And he commanded them that they should observe the way of the Lord, that they should work righteousness and love each his neighbor, and act on this manner amongst all men, that they should each so walk with regard to them as to do judgment and righteousness on the earth, that they should circumcise their sons according to the covenant which he had made with them, and not deviate to the right hand or the left of all the paths which the Lord had commanded us, and that we should keep ourselves from all fornication and uncleanness, and renounce from amongst us all fornication and uncleanliness. And if any woman or maid commit fornication amongst you, burn her with fire, and let them not commit fornication with her after their eyes and their heart, and let them not take to themselves wives from the daughters of Canaan. For the seed of Canaan will be rooted out of the land. And he told them of the judgment of the giants, and the judgment of the Sodomites, how they had been judged on account of their wickedness, and had died on account of their fornication, and uncleanliness, and mutual corruption through fornication. And guard yourselves from all fornication and uncleanness, and from all pollution of sin, lest make our name a curse, and your whole life a hissing, and all of your sons to be destroyed by the sword, and ye become a curse like Sodom, and all of your remnant as the sons of Gomorrah. I implore you, my sons, love the God of heaven, and cleave ye to all his commandments, and walk not after their idols and after their uncleanliness. And make not for yourselves molten or graven gods, for they are vanity, and there is no spirit in them. For they are work of men's hands, and all who trust in them trust in nothing. I like that. Serve them not, nor worship them, but serve ye the Most High God, and worship him continually, and hope for his countenance always. And work upright in righteousness before him, that he may have pleasure in you, and grant you his mercy, and send rain upon you morning and evening, and bless all your works which ye have wrought upon the earth. And bless thy bread and thy water, and bless the fruit of thy womb, and the fruit of the land, and the herds of the cattle, and the flocks of thy sheep. And ye will be for a blessing on the earth, and all nations of the earth will desire you, and bless your sons in my name, that they may be blessed as I am. And he gave to Ishmael, to his sons, and to the sons of Keturah gifts, and sent them away from Isaac his son, and he gave everything to Isaac his son. And Ishmael and his sons, and the sons of Keturah and their sons, went together, and dwelt from Paran to the entering in of Babylon, and all the land which is towards the east facing the desert. And these mingled with each other, and their name was called Arabs and Ishmaelites. Jubilees 21. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Abraham called Isaac his son, and commanded him, saying, I am become old, and know not the day of my death, and am full of my days. And behold, I am 175 years old, and throughout all the days of my life I have remembered the Lord, and sought with all my heart to do his will, and to walk uprightly in all his ways. My soul has hated idols, that I might observe to do the will of him who created me. Tell you what, this sounds like one hell of a guy. For he is the living God, and he is the holy and faithful, and he is righteous beyond all, and there is with him no accepting of men's persons, and no accepting of gifts. For God is righteous, and executeth judgment on all those who transgress his commandments and despise his covenant. And do thou, my son, observe his commandments and his ordinances and his judgments, and walk not after the abominations and after the graven images and after the molten images. Eat no blood at all of animals or cattle, or of any bird which flies in the heaven. And if thou dost slay a victim as an acceptable peace offering, slay ye it, and pour out its blood upon the altar. And all the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour, and the meat offering mingled with oil, with its drink offering, offer them all together on the altar of burnt offering. It is a sweet savor before the Most High. And thou wilt offer the fat of the sacrifice of thank offerings on the fire which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and the fat of the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them, and upon the loins and liver, thou shalt remove together with the kidneys. And offer all these for a sweet savor acceptable before the Lord, with its meat offering, and with its drink offering for a sweet savor, the bread of the offering unto the Lord. And eat its meat on that day, and on the 2nd day, and let not the sun on the 2nd day go down upon it till it's eaten, and let nothing be left over for the 3rd day, for it is not acceptable, for it is not approved, and let it no longer be eaten, and all who eat thereof will bring sin upon themselves. For thus I have found it written in the books of my forefathers, and in the words of Enoch, and in the words of Noah. And on all thy oblations thou shalt strew salt, and let not the salt of the covenant be lacking in all thy oblations before the Lord. And as regards the wood of the sacrifices, beware lest thou bring other wood for the altar in addition to these: cypress, bay, almond, fir, pine, cedar, savin, fig, olive, myrrh, laurel, and aspalathus. And of these kinds of wood lay upon the altar under the sacrifice, such as have been tested as to their appearance. And do not lay therein any spirit of dark wood, high body, my sweetheart, but hard and clean, without fault, a sound and new growth. And do not lay therein old wood, for its fragrance is gone, for there is no longer fragrance as in it as before. Besides these kinds of wood, there is none other than thou shalt place on the altar, for the fragrance is dispersed, and the smell of its fragrance gone not up to heaven. Observe this commandment and do it, my son, that thou mayst be upright in all thy deeds. And at all times be clean in the body, and wash thyself with water before thou approachest to offer on the altar. And wash thy hands and thy feet before thou drawest near to the altar, and that when thou art done sacrificing, wash again thy hands and thy feet. And let no blood appear upon you, nor upon your clothes. Be on thy guard, my son, against blood. Be on the guard exceedingly, cover it with dust. And do not eat any blood, for it is the soul. Eat no blood whatever. And take no gifts for the blood of man, lest it be shed with impunity, without judgment. For it is the blood that is shed that causes the earth to sin, and the earth cannot be cleansed from the blood of man, save by the blood of him who shed it. And take no present or gift for the blood of man, blood for blood, that thou mayest be accepted before the Lord, the Most High God, for he is the defense of the good, and that thou mayest be preserved from all evil, and that he may save thee from every kind of death. I see, my son, that all the works of the children of men are sin and wickedness, and all their deeds are uncleanness and an abomination and a pollution, and there is no righteousness with them. Can you hear him whining as I scratch him? He's moaning. Gizmo, what's up? You're a baby. You're a baby puppy. Alright, sorry about that. Beware lest thou shouldest walk in their ways, and tread in their paths, and sin a sin unto death before the Most High God. Else he would hide his face from thee, and give thee back into the hands of thy transgression, and root thee out of the land, and thy seed likewise from under heaven. And thy name and thy seed shall perish from the whole earth. Turn away from all their deeds and all their uncleanliness, and observe the ordinance of the Most High God, and do his will, and be upright in all things. He will bless thee in all thy deeds, and will raise up from thee a plant of righteousness through all the earth, throughout all generations of the earth, and my name and thy name shall not be forgotten under heaven forever. Go, my son, in peace. May the Most High God, my God and thy God, strengthen thee to do his will, and may he bless all thy seed and the residue of thy seed for the generations forever, with all righteous blessings, that thou mayest be a blessing on all the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing. Jubilees 22. And it came to pass in the first week in the 44th Jubilee, in the second year, that is, the year in which Abraham died, that Isaac and Ishmael came from the well of the oath to celebrate the Feast of Weeks. That is the feast of the first fruits of the harvest to Abraham. Their father and Abraham rejoiced because his 2 sons had come. For Isaac had many possessions in Beersheba, and Isaac was wont to go and see his possessions, and to return to his father. And in those days Ishmael came to see his father, and they both came together, and Isaac offered a sacrifice for a burnt offering, and presented it on the altar of his father which he had made in Hebron. And he offered a thank offering, and made a feast of joy before Ishmael his brother. And Rebekah made new cakes from the new grain, and gave them to Jacob, her son, to take them to Abraham his father from the first fruits of the land, that he might eat and bless the Creator of all things before he died. And Isaac, too, sent by the hand of Jacob to Abraham a best thank offering, and he might eat and drink. And he ate and drank, and blessed the Most High God, who had created heaven and earth, who had made all the fat things of the earth, and given them to the children of men, that they might eat and drink and bless their Creator. And now I give thanks unto thee, my God, because thou hast caused me to see this day. Behold, I am 160 years, an old man and full of days, and all my days have been unto me peace. The sword of the adversary has not overcome me in all that thou hast given me and my children all the days of my life until this day. My God, may thy mercy and thy peace be upon thy servant and upon the seed of his sons, that they may be, as to thee, a chosen nation, and inheritance from amongst all the nations of the earth, from henceforth unto all the days of the generations of the earth, unto all the ages. And he called Jacob and said, My son Jacob, may the God of all bless thee, and strengthen thee to do righteousness, and his will before him, and may he choose thee and thy seed from that ye may be become a people for his inheritance according to his will always. Yeah, eyes are starting to get heavy. And do thou, my son Jacob, draw near and kiss me. And he drew near and kissed him, and he said, Blessed be my son Jacob, and all the sons of God Most High, unto all the ages. May God give unto thee a seed of righteousness, and some of thy sons may he sanctify in the midst of the whole earth. May nations serve thee, and all the nations bow themselves before thy seed. Be strong in the presence of men, and exercise authority over all the seed of Seth. Then thy ways and the ways of thy sons will be justified, so that they shall become a holy nation. May the Most High God give thee all the blessings wherewith he has blessed me, and wherewith he blessed Noah and Adam. May they rest on the sacred heart of thy seed from generation to generation forever. And may he cleanse thee from all unrighteousness and impurity, that thou mayest be unforgiven all the transgressions which thou hast committed ignorantly, and may he strengthen thee, and bless thee, and mayest thou inherit the whole earth. And may he renew his covenant with thee, that thou mayest be of kin and nation for his inheritance for all the things, that he may be to thee and to thy seed a God in truth and righteousness throughout all the days of the earth. And do thou, my son Jacob, remember my words, and observe the commandments of Abraham thy father. Separate thyself from the nations, and eat not with them, and do not according to their works, and become not their associate, for their works are unclean, and all their ways are a pollution and an abomination and uncleanness. They offer their sacrifices to the dead, and they worship evil spirits, and they eat over the graves, and all their works are vanity and nothingness. They have no heart to understand, and their eyes do not see what their works are, and how they err in saying to a piece of wood, Thou art my God, and to a stone, Thou art my Lord, and Thou art my deliverer, and they have no heart. And as for thee, my son Jacob, may the Most High God help thee, and the God of heaven bless thee, and remove thee from the uncleanness, and from all their error. Be thou ware, my son Jacob, of taking a wife from any seed of the daughters of Canaan, for all his seed is to be rooted out of this earth. For owing to the transgression of Ham, Canaan erred, and all his seed shall be destroyed from off the face of the earth, and all the residue thereof, and none springing from him shall be saved on the day of judgment. And as for all the worshippers of idols and the profane, there shall be no hope for them in the land of the living, and there shall be no remembrance of them on the earth, for they shall descend into Sheol, and into the place of condemnation shall they go, as the children of Sodom were taken away from the earth. So with all those who worship idols be taken away. Fear not, my son Jacob, and be not dismayed, O son of Abraham. May the Most High God preserve thee from destruction, and from all the paths of error may he deliver thee. This house have I built for myself, that I might put my name upon it in the earth. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever, and it will be named the house of Abraham. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever, and for thou wilt build my house and establish my name before God forever. Thy seed and thy name will stand throughout all generations of the earth. And he ceased commanding him and blessing him. And the two lay together on one bed, and Jacob slept in the bosom of Abraham his father's father. And he kissed him 7 times, and his affection and his heart rejoiced over him. And he blessed him with all his heart, and said, The Most High God, the God of all, and Creator of all, who brought me forth from Ur to the Chaldees, that he might give me this land to inherit it forever, and that I might establish a holy seed, blessed be the Most High forever. And he blessed Jacob and said, My son, over whom with all my heart and my affection I rejoice, may thy grace and thy mercy be lift up upon him and upon his seed alway. And do not forsake him, nor set him at naught from henceforth until the days of eternity. And may thine eyes be opened upon him and upon his seed, that thou mayest preserve him and bless him, and mayest sanctify him as a nation for thine inheritance. And bless him with all thy blessings from henceforth unto all the days of eternity, and renew thy covenant and thy grace with him and with his seed, according to all thy good pleasure unto all the generations of the earth. All right, we'll do 23 and end on that one tonight. And he placed 2 fingers of Jacob on his eyes, and he blessed the God of gods. And he covered his face and stretched out his feet and slept the sleep of eternity, and was gathered to his fathers. And notwithstanding all this, Jacob was lying in his bosom, and knew not that Abraham his father's father was dead. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and behold, Abraham was cold as ice, and he said, Father, Father. But there was none that spake, and he knew that he was dead. And he arose from his bosom and ran and told Rebekah his mother. And Rebekah went to Isaac in the night, and told him that they went together, and Jacob with them, and a lamp was in his hand. And when they had gone in, they found Abraham lying dead. And Isaac fell on the face of his father and wept and kissed him. And the voices were heard in the house of Abraham, and Ishmael his son arose and went to Abraham his father, and wept over Abraham his father, he and all the house of Abraham, and they wept with a great weeping. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the double cave, near Sarah his wife, and they wept for him 40 days, all the men of his house, and Isaac and Ishmael, and all their sons, and all the sons of Keturah in their places. And the days of weeping for Abraham were ended. And he lived 3 jubilees and 4 weeks of years, 175 years, and completed the days of his life, being old and full of days. For the days of the forefathers of their life were 19 jubilees, and after the flood they began to grow less than 19 jubilees, and to decrease in jubilees, and to grow old quickly, and to be full of their days by reason of manifold tribulation and the wickedness of their ways, with the exception of Abraham. For Abraham was perfect in all his deeds with the Lord, and well-pleasing in righteousness all the days of his life. And behold, he did not complete 4 jubilees in his life, when he had grown old by reason of the wickedness, and was full of his days. And all the generations which shall rise from the time until the day of the great judgment shall grow old quickly, before they complete 2 jubilees, and their knowledge shall forsake them by reason of their old age. All their knowledge shall vanish away. And in those days, if a man live a jubilee and a half of years, they shall say regarding him, he has lived long, and the greater part of his days are pain and sorrow and tribulation, and there is no peace. For calamity follows on calamity, and wound on wound, and tribulation on tribulation, and evil tidings on evil tidings, and illness on illness, and all evil judgments such as these, one with another, illness and overthrow, and snow and frost and ice, and fever and chills, and torpor, and famine, and death, and sword, and captivity, and all kinds of calamities and pains. And all these shall come on an evil generation, which transgresses on the earth. Their works are uncleanness, and fornication, and pollution, and abominations. Then they shall say, the days of the forefathers were many, even unto 1,000 years, and were good. But behold, the days of our life, if a man has lived many, are 70, and if he is strong 80 years, and those evil, and there is no peace in the days of this evil generation. And in that generation the sons shall convict their fathers and their elders of sin and unrighteousness, and of the words of their mouth, and the great wickedness which they perpetrate, and concerning their forsaking the covenant which the Lord made between them and him, that they should observe and do all his commandments and his ordinances and all his laws, without departing either to the right hand of the left or the left. For all have done evil, and every mouth speaks iniquity, and all their works are an uncleanness and an abomination, and all their ways are pollution, uncleanness, and destruction. Behold, the earth shall be destroyed on account of all their works, and there shall be no seed of the vine, and no oil, for their works are altogether faithless, and they shall all perish together, beasts and cattle and birds, and all the fish of the sea, on account of the children of men. And they shall strive one with another, the young with the old, and the old with the young, the poor with the rich, the lowly with the great, and the beggar with the prince, on account of the law and the covenant. For they have forgotten commandment and covenant, and feasts, and months, and Sabbaths, and jubilees, and all judgments. And they shall stand swords and war to turn them back into the way. But they shall not return until much blood has been shed on the earth, one by another. And those who have escaped shall not return from the wickedness to the way of righteousness, but they shall all exalt themselves to deceit and wealth, and they may each take all that is his neighbor's, and they shall name the great name, but not in truth, and not in righteousness. And they shall defile the Holy of Holies with their uncleanness and corruption of their pollution. And a great punishment shall befall the deeds of this generation from the Lord, and he will give them over to the sword, and to judgment, and to captivity, and to be plundered and devoured. And he will wake up against them the sinners of the Gentiles, who have neither mercy nor compassion, and who shall respect the person of none, neither old nor young nor anyone, for they are more wicked and strong to do evil than all the children of men. And they shall use violence against Israel, and transgression against Jacob, and much blood shall be shed upon the earth, and there shall be none to gather and none to bury. In those days they shall cry aloud, and call and pray, that they may be saved from the hand of the sinners, the Gentiles. But none shall be saved, and the heads of the children shall be white and gray hair, and a child of 3 weeks shall appear old like a man of 100 years, and their stature shall be destroyed by tribulation and oppression. And in those days the children shall begin to study the laws, and to seek the commandments, and to return to the path of righteousness. And the days shall begin to grow many increase amongst those children of men, till their days draw nigh to 1,000 years, and to a greater number of years than before was the number of the days. And there shall be no old man, nor one who is satisfied with his days, for all shall be as children and youths. All their days they shall complete, and live in peace and in joy, and there shall be no Satan nor an evil destroyer, for all their days shall be days of blessing and healing. And at that time the Lord will heal his servants, and they shall rise up and see great peace, and drive out their adversaries, and the righteous shall see and be thankful, and rejoice with joy for ever and ever, and shall see all their judgments and all their curses on their enemies. And their bones shall rest in the earth, and their spirits shall have much joy. And they shall know that it is the Lord who executeth judgment, and shows mercy to hundreds and thousands, and to all that love him. And to do thou, Moses, write down these words, for thus are they written, and they record them on the heavenly tablets for a testimony for the generation, for the generations forever. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.